Hi guys, so good afternoon. Welcome back to my magical world. I am Frostbite, and I'm here to discuss the lab. I'm here to discuss again with you another topic, which is all about marriage. So currently it's 1:15 in the afternoon, and let's proceed. Here are 8 important conversations before marriage. So if you're the type who value these things like marriage and things that you have to do before going to get married, so you might want to hear this out. So most people test out products before making a significant purchase. Many people are also sure to receive years of education before selecting a profession, yet some people decide to get married without any hesitation. So see, there's a lot of people like that before before this kind of era has evolved. So after all, if you're married and feel like you've found, it is common to feel so excited and energized by the future that you rush into things. All often, though, conflict and challenges arise and people find themselves without the skills to properly handle marital problems. This is where premarital counseling comes in. So, before marital conflict arises, premarital counseling helps you create a strong foundation with your spouse so that relationship remains healthy, strong, and fulfilling. So, you remember, I know some of the celebrities say so they do this a lot. They do this a lot before getting married. I mean, they do counseling because I know that deep down in their hearts, they wanted to protect that kind of that married life. So issues such as developing a more balanced relationship, discussing budgeting and financial planning, establishing personal and relationship goals, exploring personal growth and strength area, identifying stressors in the relationships, strengthening communication, and using a 10-step model to help with the resolution of conflict are several areas that are tackled. But premarital counseling also provide each of the platform to have some of the most important conversations of your life before you get married. So first that you really need to talk about is all about finances. So we all have relationship with money. Much of our beliefs and money started with our first family, our parents. So most people carry these views into their relationships. So some, however, go into other directions. Some of the financial questions are you a spender or a saver? So if you have a disposable income, how do you spend it? What do you want to do with your disposable income? Joint or separate accounts? So these are the things, guys, that you probably talk about with your partner. So how will you save money? And if you save money, what purchases will be made? Does one of you make more money than the other? If so, how will you share the expenses? What about big purchases? Can you spend freely before uh, you have to talk about the purchase? Do you have a budget? How will the cost of your home being paid? So what about going out? Who takes on the expense, and is that a shared expense? So do you get a bonus at work? So those are the things. There's a lot of questions here, guys. So uh talking about money can be a step towards preventing financial infidelity. So there are also uh, a word like that. So yeah. Lastly, many people bring insignificant debt to their relationships, such as loans, credit card loans. So, how will you share this information with your partner? What is your plan to manage your debt? So, these things are so simple yet so hard to talk about to your partner. So, might as well do this before, getting involved with your partner's life, basically their whole life, because marriage life is like that. And I'm happy I'm not married yet. Next is sex and intimacy. Sexual desires has a tendency to wax and wane over time. Most people will attest to that, and more often than not, desires vary between partners. So couples will often complain that their desires differ as they are rarely in rarely in the mood at the same time. So those are by and large truths in most relationship. For women, desire follows arousal. For men, it's the opposite. And the health of the relationship, communication problems often dictates the sexual health of a relationship. So to help couples start this conversation, you should start to share your history. For example, did you talk about sex in your household growing up? Was it taboo? Does religion play a part in your sexual life? If so, to what degree does it affect your sex life and how you perceive sex? How often do you like to have sex? So, do you have expectations about sex? Do you feel both comfortable and safe talking your needs with each other? But really, guys, if you're like getting married, you really need to tell your partner what you truly desire, like in detail, so that your partners are not manghuhula. What do you call this? They are not some juju, like to just guess what do you want. Just say it to them. Be direct as much as possible. They are your partners. They will be there by your side, so they will listen, right? They love you. They do love you. How does your partner respond when you talk about your sexual needs? So, is he or she offended? Or does he or she feel threatened? Okay, so those are the questions that you might probably want to ask your partners. Next is extended families. I relate this. Okay, it's often said that we don't just marry the person, but they are family. In the best situations, both families get along with one another, which makes family gatherings and sharing holidays, birthdays, and other special days much easier. Many of us have traditions that we hope to continue once married. Wedding this and wanting things to be fair um, can at times create friction. To begin, do your families get along? So are the difference significant? Do you come from different religious backgrounds, and if so, how will this affect celebrations? So extended families are mostly chaotic, so deal with them, guys, accordingly. Next is core values. The values we establish to create the foundation from which we make decisions throughout our life. There are the things we believe are important and dictate how we live and work. They determine your priorities and in many ways measure the way in which your life is turning out the way you want. Values are usually fairly stable over time but don't necessarily have strict boundaries or limits. Some values may change over time as your life circumstances change. So you should ask yourself, what are my values? Do you have any values, guys? So work, life, balance, money, things, career, children, religion, travel, time from extended family, all of that should be discussed, you know, this relaxly. Relaxly is there's a you should discuss that in a way that you will meet halfway. So once discussed, where do you match up? Are there differences, and if so, how will you resolve them? Is there a room for you to compromise? Oh, I don't like that word, actually, compromise. Next is communication styles. One of the biggest areas of contention in relationships is communication. People are communicating but not in effective or healthy ways, so they often feel stuck. One of the more common communication styles is the distance or pursuer relationship. For example, the more one moves toward their partner, the more the other partner creates distance. So, is this your style? Some people are like passive aggressive, confrontational, overly assertive, and loud. Others are defensive and have difficulty waiting their turn and simply listening and hearing. So, the goal being to learn your communication style and your partner and start to change how you communicate. A good therapist can help you to do this more effectively by creating the bandwidth and platform to hear both interject when needed, and guide you to having more conversations. Another important component of communication is your emotional intelligence, or EQ. This is vital not just in your personal relationships but professional ones as well. So communication is like everything, guys. Not only you have to communicate, but comprehend it the way how they want it, how they want things to be. Next is work and home demands. Many couples have difficulty having the conversation about how they will balance their work and home life demands. Trying to make sure that everything is fair and equal often results in fights. Some couples keep score. How do you talk about what your expectations are? Are they lofty and not achievable? How important is your work to you? Are there work expectations that need to be addressed so that your partner feels like they are included in the decision? So when deciding on house chores, make sure you decide on an equitable split of the chores or an agreement where both of you are happy. I often suggest that couples begin with the things they like to do, are good at. This provides them with strength, so when they have to look at the remaining items, there's a stronger likelihood of a team effort rather than what's not fair. So in before, like, women uh are like obliged to do a lot of the home demands, but nowadays, the tables have turned, and I like that. So yeah, you can no longer say that you're women, you have to be uh actually, women can do that if you're like a good provider. So it actually depends on what partner you can get out of this, crazy life. So next is children. This is the last one. This is a must-have conversation that all too often people kind of talk about. Do you really want children? So, or feel you should? And if so, how many children do you want? How you will financially support them? How much will your family be involved? Also, will one parent stay at home for a period of time, as the one income family is more of a thing of the past than the norm anymore? What is your parenting styles? So those are the things that you can probably ask. So do you plan to parent how your parents raised you? So it's up to you guys. What I just wanted to say is that those are the things that you could probably talk about before you get married. Those are not those needs a lot of space and time and a really really good communication and comprehension skills, so that both of you meet um in a good disposition. So taking a proactive and honest approach to this most important decision in your life will allow these conversations to take place and evolve, so that you start your marriage off on the right path. It's really hard to maintain happy marriage nowadays, so I hope you guys that are already married people will have a long, understanding, loving relationships till you grow old. Okay. I don't like people separating because of like so many factors already. So this has been a crazy world. So make sure to stay strong, guys. Okay. So yeah. Thank you for helping make this world a better place for all of us and for the future generation. And see you again. Bye.